And then I was like, wow, that happened. I don't know what possessed me to think that I could start with this book. And one thing about me is I will DNF in a heartbeat. Hello, book besties. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Kiera and I am so excited to have you here. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a TBR series audit. I want to give you guys all of the series that I am in the middle of, the series that I've started, and maybe also if I plan to continue finishing them, because some of these I've realized I really have no intention of finishing. So I figured I'd make a video to let you guys know, and maybe you guys can let me know if you think that I should finish these, or if you think I'm probably okay to just let it go. Now, some of these I don't own a physical copy of, so I'm just going to be looking between my camera and my laptop to let you guys know like which ones those are, and we can kind of go from there. I'm gonna start off actually with a nostalgic one. Recently, I have been doing a reread of some of my favorite early teenagehood / childhood series, and one of the ones that I'm rereading right now is the Twilight series. I know. I do have plans to continue this one because I really do want to relive that nostalgia of when I read this years ago. I read Twilight and New Moon in my recent reread. I have not gone into Eclipse or Breaking Dawn, so I need to finish those, but I was waiting until another book sale to get like the pretty re-released copies. If I can find a picture of that online, I will show you which ones I'm talking about, but I really want like the pretty collector's edition. That's kind of why I've been holding off on completing my reread of that series. But yeah, that's the first one I kind of want to get out of the way and mention. Next up is one that I want to mention because I believe the next book is announced. I'm not sure if it's actually released yet, but I am reading The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. It's very gothic and atmospheric, and I think I'm going to save the second book for like a spooky season, October kind of read, because I do really like that like gothic, chilly kind of setting. The book is not, how do I say this? It's not fast-paced in the way that I usually like my romances, I will say. I am a thriller / horror reader most of the time, with some romantasy and fantasy. So I do like a little more stress and tension and action in my book. And honestly, I think it was the time of year that I read it. I read The Night and the Moth last October, and I think that did help with my enjoyment of that book. So I think that's what I'm going to do for the second one. But overall, I did love the writing style, and I do plan on reading the second book when it comes out. The next series on the list I know is going to be a little controversial. I started the Zodiac Academy series. I got up to book 5, was absolutely pissed with that ending, and just stopped. I did not go on to read books 6, 7, and 8. Let me know if you guys think I should pick this up. I did a lot of online scrolling in the community before making my decision to pause the series, and I've heard that 6, 7, and 8 are more repetitive in nature, and I've heard that the series kind of peaks after book 4. I don't know. If you think that's true, let me know. I'm so on the fence about finishing it because of that. Those books are really, really chunky. And one thing about me is I will DNF in a heartbeat. Honestly, if I'm not feeling a book, I'm not going to force myself to read it. I'm just going to stop and maybe come back at a different time. That is, I always give myself that space. I allow myself to pause a book and come back at the right time. And I think that has saved me from a lot of reading slumps or getting into a reading slump. I don't force myself to finish a book if I'm not feeling it. And that's what kind of happened with Zodiac. I tried to read book 6. I think I got like maybe 4 chapters in, and I was just kind of fatigued by the series, and I was so mad at the ending of book 5 that I didn't think I could go back and just like continue pushing along. Do I plan to continue? I really don't know. I don't know. From what I've read online, people say that like the last 3 were not the best. So I don't know. Do you guys think I should continue? Let me know. Right now I'm gonna leave it open-ended. I do want to finish it just because I got like all the way through like the first half of the series. I feel like I almost have to finish it. But again, I'm not one to force myself to read books that I'm not into. So let me know if you guys think that I should continue the series in the comments. Next up, we have The Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose. This is a thriller series. The first book is amazing. It's one of my top thrillers. To be quite honest with you guys, I don't see a huge pull to read thriller series. I don't know, I could be totally wrong about that and not very nice for saying that. But I don't know, I've never thought about continuing a thriller series. I can see the attraction to continue a fantasy series because there's emotional pull there. You are emotionally attached to characters. I get very emotionally attached to characters. But when you're reading a thriller, it's not really, I don't know, like I don't feel the same emotional attachment to characters in a thriller series that I do for characters in romantasy or fantasy series. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think I will continue and read book 2. I would have to be in like the right mood for it. Like I don't even own book 2. It's not really on my radar because I don't read thriller series. If you're someone who does and you do recommend the second book, let me know. But as it stands right now, it's not really high on the priority list. Next up is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Now we really can loop this in just like the conversation that we had about The Perfect Marriage. This is another thriller. It is a series, so The Housemaid has different books in the series. I will pop pictures of the rest of the series if I can find them. I don't know what it is about a thriller. I'm here for the tension, I'm here for the plot, and I'm here for the anxiety. I'm not really here for the characters. And just personally, in order to continue with a series, I have to be invested in your characters. I have to feel emotionally invested in the characters and what might happen to them. So if it's mostly like a plot-driven book, and the tension is mostly in the plot and not really in the characters, I don't see myself continuing that series, but if it is something that you guys recommend, let me know. Next up, we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is a YA series. I don't read a ton of YA, but I did love this back when I read it again years ago. This book actually does have a TV show on Amazon Prime. I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was really good. But anyways, this book, I really loved it. I did not see the plot twist coming. And overall, I do recommend. Will I continue the series? I don't know. I tried to pick up the second book in the series. I don't even remember the name of the second one. I think the second one is called Family of Liars, if I'm not mistaken. I tried to read that one and it follows like the parents, I'm pretty sure, and I thought that was a little boring. Sorry. But I don't know if I will continue this series because the second one kind of fell off for me. Honestly, I'm not the biggest YA reader, so that could be part of it. But I did really enjoy this one. Now, because mostly what I read is adult, I will kind of explain to you what this is about and why I even got into it, because I think that's important to know. So in this book, we follow Katie. She is the daughter of one of the wealthy families, and it's basically like a book set in the summer in a vacation home, and she goes back to the island where they stay at every summer. She has amnesia, there's an accident that happened, she doesn't really remember anything, and you're kind of following her piece together her own memories of the prior summers. So that's where we kind of go. I don't want to say too much else about the plot because it will spoil it. The reason why I even picked it up in the first place is because I heard other people say at the time, again, this was years ago, like I want to say maybe 2020 or 2021. Back then, people were saying that it had this crazy plot twist, and it really does. The plot twist is really good. So that's why I kind of picked this up. Again, YA is really not my thing. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, that first book was really good, and I loved the plot twist in that one. And next up, we have Haunting Adeline. This is part of the cat and mouse duet, and I want to answer this quickly. I don't know that I would continue this series. Let me kind of back up. So this is a very intense, dark romance, and I just think it was too much too soon. I don't know what possessed me to think that I could start with this book. It was my first ever dark romance that I picked up, and immediately I was like, whoa, there are things being inserted into places where they should not be inserted in. And personally, for me, as someone who does not read dark romance, I like serial killers. I love a psycho and a liar, but foreign objects in foreign places, that one took me aback a little bit. I won't lie to you. Will I continue the series? Maybe someday. Maybe when I'm, I don't know, a little bit more experienced with dark romance, perhaps. But the first one was a lot. I still gave it 4 stars. Like, I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time. But it was just crazy. And then I was like, wow, that happened. I still thought it was really good. I still thought the plot and the story was really, really good. I just thought it was a little too much for me. So that's where I'm going to kind of leave it. That is a maybe if I would continue that series. Next up, we have Scythe by Neal Shusterman. This book I don't own either. This was actually a book that I was reading from a recommendation from one of my personal friends, and I really enjoyed it. It's another YA book, so Scythe is definitely more dystopian than fantasy. Basically, we live in this perfect world where nobody dies, and there are these group of people called the Scythe, and they basically pick who dies. They kind of look like Grim Reapers, basically. There is a little tiny nugget of romance in this book, which I enjoyed. I really love the first 2 books. It is action-packed. The story keeps moving. There are plot twists that are so good and so satisfying, which I really loved. I read the first 2 books and absolutely loved them. However, there is a plot twist at the end of the second book that I could not get over, and that's why I didn't complete the series. So in the 3rd book, we follow a different cast of characters, and at the time that I was reading it, I wasn't super into that. I wanted to follow our characters from the main storyline of books 1 and 2, so that's why I didn't continue with the series at that time. This is another one that I'm going to say maybe/yes, I would read the 3rd one. Just let me know if you think I should. I just thought books 1 and 2 were so good that, you know, I didn't really want to switch to a new set of characters, so I didn't. Up next, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is another YA romantasy series. Book 1 was really whimsical, and to be honest, I would love to encourage myself to continue with this kind of series because everything that I read is devastating. I love something that's going to absolutely break my heart, and you know what, maybe for my anxiety's sake, I really should continue the series to give myself a little bit of a break. I even bought like some really cute romances this summer to maybe get into to see if like I could give my nervous system a chance to recover. We'll see if I actually do it. I don't know. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Once Upon a Broken Heart is a more whimsical romantasy series. I read book 1 and absolutely loved book 1. I just haven't picked up books 2 and 3 because I didn't own them at the time. And like I said, I prefer more like gut-wrenching stories, and this simply is not that. So I didn't continue on with the 2 other books. I believe it's a trilogy. I did not continue that. Do I plan to read this? Yes, absolutely. I am still planning on finishing this series once I'm back in the mood for something whimsical and light. And it's also YA, so YA for me is really tricky. I have to be in the mood for a YA type of book. Oh, the other thing I want to say about Once Upon a Broken Heart 2, I also want to continue that because it is so unique. In this one, the female main character, she is more feminine. She is not necessarily like an assassin or anything. She actually is the damsel in distress, and she's beautiful and just whimsy and magical. So I do want to continue it because I do relate a lot more to her type of character. We'll see. Once I'm back in that mood, I will let you guys know because I would love to finish that trilogy. And lastly on our list, I am also in the middle of Riftborne by Bree, Grenwich, and Parker, Lennox. This series, I finished Riftborne and I finished Dustbound. Didn't really love Riftborne. That one, I'm kind of mad at myself because I did kind of force myself to finish that so I could get to Dustbound. But unfortunately, because I didn't love Riftborne, that kind of weird lingering feeling went into Dustbound. I was very hypercritical. And Dustbound I gave it a pretty fair rating. I mean, I thought the rating was pretty good. I gave it 4 stars. And then the reason why I even read those 2 books is because everybody online was saying that you need to read those 2 books before you go into The Ascended, which is by the same authors, but it's not the same storyline. And I think that is what made me pause the series. The Ascended, it doesn't have to do with the characters, the main characters from the first 2 books. I think that one, it does have that, like, those 2 books, Riftborne and Dustbound, it does have a 3rd that's coming out, so that's why it's on the list. The Ascended is kind of like separate, it's like a spin-off almost. But I did end up pausing The Ascended. I didn't finish it because I was kind of fatigued by the story a little bit, because I forced myself to read Riftborne and Dustbound. I do want to give The Ascended another chance, so I do plan on reading that at some point and finishing it, because it was a really interesting story. At the time that I read it, I think I was just fatigued by romantasy in general and needed a genre switch. And like I said, I don't force myself to finish books, especially not real chunky ones, and The Ascended is pretty long. So I don't force myself to read very long books. So I do have plans to finish that series at some point. I probably would read the 3rd one that's going to come out after Riftborne and Dustbound, just to hopefully wrap up that series, but I definitely do want to give The Ascended another chance as well. And that is it for today's video. If you have read any of the books on my list today, let me know in the comments. Do you think I should continue on with the series? Do you think I'm okay to probably scrap it? What did you think of the books that are on my list? Do you agree with me on any of my takes of these books? Do you disagree? Leave it in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you stick around. Alright, besties, I will see you in the next one. Bye!